keep trying to be this girl's savior.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 action film Trouble Man. The film is directed by Michael J. White, stars Michael J. White. We also have appearances from Method Man, Gillian White, who is Michael J. White's wife. We have got Levi Tran, Mike Epps, Lala Anthony, and Orlando Jones. Right, the film focuses on Michael J. White's character, Jackson, who is, he's the head of security at like this nightclub, but he's also a fixer. He sorts people's problems out, basically, whatever it may be. He is brought on board by a music producer to track down one of his top musical stars, Jahari, played by Lala Anthony, who has gone missing. So he has a personal history with this musical artist. She used to be her bodyguard. So he goes on the hunt trying to find her. Along the way, he's joined by Method Man, his character's called Money, who is an associate of this musical star, Jahari, and he wants to find out where she is. He uncovers corruption within the music industry and essentially someone that wanting to kidnap her for their own nefarious purposes. But along the way as well, he has reignited an old flame in his life from many, many years ago, Gina, played by Gillian White. He wants to reignite that relationship. However, his life is in chaos, and he realizes that by doing so, he could potentially be putting her at serious risk. Right, what are my thoughts on Trouble Man? Well, this is described as an action comedy. Now, that's always can be a little bit of a concern for me, especially with lower budgeted type movies like this. Now, I have seen films in the past where Michael J. White has produced, decent comedy timing here and there in some of his performances. But I wouldn't go as far as to call this a traditional action comedy. There's a couple of moments here and there, but from my perspective, they felt out of place. It felt tonally off when we got the what you would describe as comedy moments in this film. You don't get any of them for Michael J. White's character. He plays it straight down the middle for the most part here. He plays this very honourable and skilled guy that is, trying to do the right thing and trying to track down this musical artist that's been kidnapped. He won't be made a fool of, sort of thing. He's got a thing against guns, but he also won't back down. So he's a fun character. I didn't really have an issue with him at all. Unfortunately, though, the film is kind of overstuffed with characters that the film didn't need. The film, I don't think, needed Method Man. He didn't really offer anything to the film other than his name. He's in it a decent amount, and to be fair, I didn't have really much of an issue in regards to his performance. It is not what you would describe as veteran actor quality. Is clearly not, but it was okay, and he actually had some decent chemistry with Michael J. White. But the film could have done without him. It didn't need him. And the film didn't need Gillian White, his wife, in it as well, as his love interest, which I've noticed in a couple of his films last 2 or 3 years, and even more. She turns up in a lot of his movies, especially the films that he is directing, sort of thing. Again, okay, I understand sometimes the need to put a love interest in a film. The film didn't need it, in my opinion, this love interest. Giving him this dilemma that he's putting her in danger and all this kind of stuff. For me, it kind of added an unnecessary plot device to the film that the film could have done without. I think it would have improved the pacing here and there. But beyond that, other than a few questionable performances by some of the smaller actors here, as you would expect from Michael J. White, the fight scenes are excellent because he is genuinely a top martial artist. If you do your research and you actually look into, his skill set and how respected he is in the martial arts industry, I suppose, you would expect no less. It's almost like Scott Adkins. He absolutely wants the best when it comes to his fight choreography. And it's all generally done excellently here, I think, the fight choreography. They add a little bit of humour into some of it here and there, but for the most part, it's slick, it's on point, it's impactful. And the choreography, I just thought, was excellent at times in regards to the fight choreography that you get here. So I can't criticise, generally speaking, the action here. The action fight scenes are done well. The shooting scenes, when you get them, are done to a decent standard. So the film, when it does what you want it to do in regards to action, I don't have a problem with. So if you're a fan of Michael J. White, you're going to enjoy the action scenes here. I think the film kind of stumbles and slows down and falters when it tries to add in, the character moments, the romance moments, or other bits and pieces that they put in there, discussions with, music execs. It's got a woefully thought through bad guy here. I mean, and what I mean by that as well is it's incredibly predictable who the villain is here. And you never really felt, I certainly didn't, that Michael J. White's character was really at any risk. And I think in this day and age, you want your action heroes to be, honourable, determined, but vulnerable. And I never really got that here with Michael J. White's Jackson. He was properly badass for the most part. And even when he's going up against people 2-1 here in this film who were incredibly skilled, yes, okay, they get a few punches in here and there, but I never felt at any real point that this character was at risk. So I think this is a pretty average action film in regards to performances, script and story, that kind of stuff. It doesn't do anything original or interesting, but as the straight action flick, it kind of ticks the boxes. The comedy stuff is tonally off in the film. I don't feel it fits, and it's not what you would call a traditional action comedy by any stretch of the imagination. For me, if you're going to do a traditional action comedy, it's got to be along the lines of, like the Beverly Hills Cop type stuff, where they're going for genuine laughs, but still keeping it gritty and the action scenes interesting. This doesn't really do any of that. It just kind of, it feels like it's experimenting with a bit of humour in it, but it never really catches on, certainly in my opinion. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Trouble Man. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen it or if you want to see it, and I will of course be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.